Hey TJ, would love to chat with you about Terraform before we dive in. Do you mind giving us a brief introduction about yourself, who you are, where you work, and anything else that you'd like to let us know?
Sure. My name is TJ. I'm the head of data for a company called Multimedia. We operate the second largest live video streaming site on the internet at the scale of Twitch. I manage analytics, data science, and data engineering at Multimedia. We use Snowflake and Terraform for DBT and product analytics, experimentation, A/B testing, and increasingly more data processing for machine learning.
First question I want to ask is why did you start using Terraform to manage Snowflake? What's the backstory there? Was it a specific use case, or were you just having issues managing all the objects in Snowflake in general?
I took over all of the data infrastructure when I joined Multimedia. And one of the things that I negotiated very early on with my CTO was I wanted to have an area where I was able to kind of freely deploy and build out the data infrastructure without having to go through the normal cycles of our typical deploy process that are used for like web servers and stuff like that. And so in order to be able to kind of like have the freedom to build whatever I want, but also build it in a way so that it's inspectable, so it's robust enough for someone to kind of like take it over in the event that needs to happen. I chose Terraform as our kind of infrastructure as code platform, so that anything that we built, especially things that were kind of considered production, whether it's like data production or production, were all specified in a place that someone could come in and take over if they needed to. So Terraform was a natural fit. And so we brought on Terraform at the point in time that we moved from Redshift to Snowflake. At that point, we brought on Terraform.
Okay. And so you started with Snowflake from scratch with Terraform, knowing you were going to use it to manage your objects?
Yeah, I had been through the process with Redshift in the past of the typical, really basic way to managing users and roles and permissions and all that stuff. Redshift with a bunch of like scripts and stuff like that, and wanted something more robust.
Awesome. And I know we chatted, well, maybe briefly, I saw your comment about it in, I think, the locally optimistic Slack, but can you go over a little bit the types of objects that you like to manage with Terraform and Snowflake, and then if there's any others that you prefer to stay away from?
We manage databases, most schemas, um, snowpipes, um, some other kind of connected objects to snowpipes, um, users, roles, and grants through Snowflake. We do not manage tables at all. Manage tables are table objects themselves are managed completely outside of Terraform. Grants to tables are managed almost entirely through future grants.
Perfect. Yeah. And that's sort of similar to what I have experience with too, not using Terraform for tables specific, and then focusing mostly on, the higher level objects and then also the user roles. This is sort of random, but do you break out your Terraform like workspace in Snowflake into multiple workspaces? Or do you, like, have you come up with that? Have you hit that barrier of Terraform being slow when it's running plans and applies yet?
So we have hundreds, like probably 500 to 600, like distinct entities in the Terraform state, and so like just doing a refresh over 600 entities takes some time.
Yeah.
We haven't broken it out yet. It's been tolerable, and then the frequency at which we make changes to it nowadays is at most once a month. So
Awesome.
we have multiple workspaces for non-Snowflake stuff, but the Snowflake stuff has still been one workspace.
Great. Um, and then, do you have any general advice for either companies who have managed Snowflake through one-off type of queries, or just looking to start implementing Terraform or another infrastructure as code tool?
One of the design decisions that makes Snowflake and Terraform work really well is the primary responsibility that I hire Terraform to do is manage permissions. That's, I think, the most important thing that we use it for, that it's very clear which users have which roles, what roles have access to, and then kind of our ecosystem of tables, how those map to the roles. And so one of the things that we do is very simple databases and schemas and how those map to specific roles. So we have a raw database in Snowflake, and then we have like an analytics database in Snowflake. And almost everything is designed around access to raw and like read write to analytics. Um, and so keeping the role boundaries really simple is one of the things that like let makes it easy to compose in Terraform in the first place. It makes it easy to reason about. There's a lot of like benefits from keeping it really simple, but I think that's one of the areas where people get caught up when they're trying to terraformize whatever exists in their current role schema, and um, don't think about ways to make it easy to compose in Terraform versus having Terraform match exactly whatever their existing um, role setup is. So keeping it really simple is important. Keeping tables out saves you a
Yeah,
huge
definitely.
amount of stuff too. Those are the two things that come to mind.
Awesome. Yeah, I know the roles can get super complicated, especially if you build them out. Like you can build out roles into so many different layers and levels of who has access to what, and so I love that keeping it simple. I'm sure that is a great way to manage it. Awesome. Well, I think that's all the questions I had for you, and so I really appreciate your time today, and would love to chat again, maybe about specifics of Terraform. Just wanted to start with a little intro. If anyone's interested in getting started, I definitely recommend checking out Terraform, getting it connected to your Snowflake account, and as TJ mentioned, seeing if you can connect to one of the most useful objects, which is creating and managing your roles through Terraform. I'll leave some links in the description, and we'll hopefully get some more time to talk about Terraform and how you can use it to manage Snowflake. Thanks, everyone.